let's talk about this story that's in the Nation today, Ati. How Mwangaza was saved from impeachment, page 8. What's that story?
Okay.
What are they saying?
So how exactly was she saved? What are the intrigues? How did it happen? Let me tell you.
Where?
A last-minute phone call apparently took place from a top party leader in intense horse trading and infighting within Kenya Kwanza is what saved Meru governor from imminent removal from office. Can you imagine? Horse trading, phone call, infighting, political this, that, and the other thing. And here you are thinking that it was all the vote that made the difference. You thought wrongeth. Huh? As late as Wednesday afternoon, the first-term governor's fate was sealed with senators only waiting to confirm her impeachment during voting time, according to this interview.
By afternoon, she was going.
Done deal. Goose cooked. It was home and dry. However, an error by 2 cabinet secretaries in isolating the first-term senators provided a window of opportunity for the 2 ministers to turn the tables on them and derail their plans. The gaffe by the 2 ministers from the Mount Kenya region, no less, gave a sympathetic governors room to swoop in with a higher financial incentive than the offer on the table. Horse trading?
Wait. So there was already an offer on the table.
Yes, please.
And we're implicating some 2 Mount Kenya cabinet secretaries.
Yes, please.
Or 2 Mount Kenya who? Governors.
No.
Cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
And then other governors swoop in with a higher offer on the table.
Now do you understand the trading of the horses?
Tuendele.
Now, they came in with a higher financial incentive than the offer on the table, coupled with the misogynistic remarks made by Tiganya East MP Mpuriabure against Ms. Mwangaza in videos played during the impeachment trial as part of her defense. The once foregone conclusion was turned on its head. According to several senators who spoke to the Nation, Governor Mwangaza's fate was sealed after intense lobbying by Meru politicians who had openly opposed the independent governor's leadership. We even heard they had said, if you don't convict, you will be offered the gift of sight, as City says. However, cracks began to emerge during a parliamentary business committee meeting when the Senate leadership failed to agree on the way forward for the impeachment process. As a result, Narok Senator and Minority Leader Ledama Olekina moved a motion for the establishment of an 11-member ad hoc committee.
Hey, Nation, Ledama is now Minority Leader.
It would appear, as of this article. For the purposes of this, let's just call him Narok Senator. Okay? Of an 11-member ad hoc committee, even to the extent of producing a list of names from the majority side. Normally, such a motion would have been moved by the majority leader or whip. Despite a spirited fight by Senator Olekina and his Nairobi counterpart Edwin Sifuna to convince their colleagues that the committee route was the best way to hear the case and ensure justice was done, the move was strongly opposed by senators allied to the Kenya Kwanza wing of the political divide, who refused to support the proposed name. So they did their back and forth. On Wednesday morning, senators even took time to discuss a tweet by Public Service CS Moses Kuria, who had cast aspersions on the ongoing process, dropping the names of 13 senators he warned against being misled. Now, the tide began to turn, and videos of Mr. Aburi making derogatory sexual comments about Ms. Mwangaza drew the ire of senators. When someone becomes so careless, so rude and barbaric, one's heart goes out to the victim. She contributed 50% to what happened yesterday. That was the turning point. The first person to save Kawira was Mpuriaburi. Are you surprised? Senator Sifuna echoed this was said by James Murango, who is the Kirinyaga senator. Now, Senator Sifuna echoed this, saying that Aburi's remarks played a big role. I think that what sank the case was Mpuriaburi.
What worked in favor of the senators?
Because you played the gender card, you played the sympathetic card, you played the tear-jerking card.
It worked in favor of the senators.
I mean.
Yeah, and the higher offer on the table.
Yes.
So, everybody could see. Surely.
What do we do?
What Mpuriaburi has.
How many senators do we have?
67.
That's a small number.
And 47 votes.
That's a small number.
47 votes?
Yeah.
All those votes were going 44 and above.
Because I'm just looking at the offer on the table and I'm doing the maths.
How much was on the table?
I'm not certain, but the measure of the amounts that were being asked for is a measure of the problems that the senators had foreseen and a measure of what they thought should be spent over a long weekend. Because this isn't the sort of measure for building a house.
Let me tell you how the card played. Machako Senator Agnes Kavindu said, if there is one day I have been disappointed in this house, it is today. The issue that was very difficult for me was the abusive words that these men used against the governor. I cried. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to leave because I could not bear the abusive words being used. If there was a day, it was today.
Is it an elected
so she was disappointed. Elected.
She elected. Machakos.
Yes, ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was disappointed in the Senate.
How these men are allowing these things to be said openly.
Which side did she vote for?
What do you think?
Okay, I don't understand her disappointment in the Senate.
Mr. Tears, I don't understand.
She was annoyed that Mpuriaburi would play such a thing.
But he's not a senator. Any go on.
Yeah. Okay, he's not. Okay. Then Olekina now added, and he said, I speak here today as the father of two beautiful daughters. You're asking how the card played?
Yeah.
Who I want to see grow up and become leaders. To see an honorable member walk the streets of our civilized nation and say that certain tools should be used to punish a woman is uncouth and uncivilized. Shame on them. Moses Kajwang now joined and said, the misogyny shown in some of the videos has no place in modern Kenya. These are criminal acts that should not be tolerated. Gender-based violence is a criminal act. By the time everybody saw that video,
so far, Nation have not told us the story of the
about
money,
the money on the table. So can you try?
So let's get to that bit.
It's not possible for us to connect those dots at this point.
Get to that bit, please.
Okay, so now, according to other senators, the two cabinet secretaries, you remember them, sensing that the tide might turn against them, offered 2 million shillings to the lawmaker, but preference was given to senior members of the House who were supposed to whip the juniors into line.
Wait. So there was 2 million per what?
Per lawmaker.
Oh, per. Just read again, please.
According to the other senators, the two cabinet secretaries, sensing that the tide might turn against them, offered 2 million shillings. Look, we don't know if it was per. Offered 2 million shillings to the lawmakers, but preference was given to senior members of the House who were supposed to whip their juniors into line. Now, what does that mean?
So senior members were gawana 2 million.
Yes.
Ndio waende wa convince hao wengine.
Wafanye hivyo.
All right.
Now,
the other juniors were like,
excuse me, what do you mean? Do we look like chopped liver? Now, they were angry. They said, we have been slighted. Yes. Most of them were first-term senators, right. And they refused to play ball. They said, Sisi, not happening.
5,000. Hata yezi fuel gari.
Nirudi home.
Madharau sampli gani?
Kubwa sana. Accordingly, the governors got wind of what was going on.
The governors were in Narok, by the way.
Yeah, governors. Now, these people who put 2 million were cabinet secretaries. Governors now, on the other hand,
2 whole ministers have chomod to Mike.
Yes. Now, governor said, something goeth on in the Senate. We have the scent has wafted in our direction,
right?
In the state of the Senate. Yes. So they now said, a better offer, 2.5 millions. They've made a better counter offer of between 2.5 and 3 million, depending on a senator's rank. Now that is how you know it is each. Do you get it? Depending on your rank. Now, what your rank? First time, second term,
leadership,
the one with 3 a big million, mouth,
automatic.
Whip, minority, whipless, whiplash.
And here we think that we do not know where our tax.
But these are just mere frivolous allegations by enemies of Let's continue.
An emissary, like a dove those days, flew in from the council and was sent to talk to the senators as they quickly moved in to save their colleagues after being informed of the ongoing plan. What? However, the deal was not yet watertight, as some senators were still dithering and refused to make up their minds. Where unachukua hii pesa ama uchukui tuendelee?
They were negotiating.
2.5.
Umepatia nani 3?
Hapana, mimi siwezi. Enter the senior figure.
There's another senior one.
Ngoja kwanza.
So once it was cabinet secretaries, then governors, then now senior figure.
who phoned each of the undecided senators. You're still there deciding whether 2.5 is enough.
Brother.
And told them to vote to save Miss Mwangaza. I'm not even saying I'll add you. Vote. Save her. Miss Kia. That is apparently what sealed the deal. The horse trading, whether you will take or not take, whether it's too much or too little, mimi ndio nakwambia.
So essentially, Mwangaza had seen the door.
Yeah. Yes, according to this. According to the senator who told the nation, I can confirm that he called me personally.
The senior figure.
The senior figure. And told me to save Kawira because he had received a delegation of women politicians who were pleading with him to save one of their own who was being persecuted by male leaders from Meru County just because she's a woman. The call swayed everything. Now, whether you were decided, undecided, this call is the one that now moved the needle decisively. The change of heart, do you see this change of heart, was now reflected in the voting pattern, where on the charge of embezzlement and misuse of county resources, 28 senators voted against the charge, 18 in favor. On the second charge of nepotism and related unethical practice, the senators found the charge to be unfounded by a resounding 42 votes to 5. The trend continued with the third charge of bullying, vilification, and humiliation of other leaders, where the vote was 44 to 3. On the charge of illegal appointments and usurpation of statutory powers, 27 senators voted not guilty against 20. Do you see how a phone call can change everything? The charge of contempt of court failed by 44 votes to 3, as did the charge of illegally naming a public road after her husband. And on the final charge of contempt of the assembly, 37 senators voted against the charge with 10 in favor. Then don't chop money clean mouth. Now phone call now move everything. Senators also tore into the evidence presented by the county assembly, with Kitui Zeno Kwambo saying it failed to meet the basic threshold for impeachment.
Of course.
We had to bring that in at some point. Evidentiary threshold has not been met.
It has to be 5 million and above.
For it to now meet the threshold.
Basic threshold.
It needs 5 million.
From what I gather, all these monies which are on the table, none of it was refunded. Cindia.
What are you talking about? How?
No, I'm just doing the maths in my head.
You see, nobody was offering money to save her. Was there any, or the ministers were offering money to save her?
The ministers? No.
The ministers were offering money
to convict, to uphold the impeachment.
So
the governor said
the governor was sending money to save her.
To save her.
Okay, that
and then the phone call came to save
senators
her.
Direct to not even, I'm not offering you this. It was, vote this way. Because these women have come to my office and they've told me that it's very wrong. This is what you people are doing in Meru because she's a woman. So you know what? We can't have that kind of thing happening. So please, just save her. And that's how we saw things changing. So you understand now?
So
if everything that you've read represents the truth, then at least we have clarity.
You get it now, don't you?
This isn't a question of whether she was guilty or she was not guilty. No, that's not really.
It's a political. This is a political issue.
Yes.
And in Kenya, politics is money.
Yes.
That's it. What does it then say about this whole journey of impeachment?
What does it then say about this whole issue of morality? What does it then say about this whole issue of where it is we place the power of money in not just the political space in our country? Because all these people, it doesn't matter who it is, the time they've been governors, the time they've been senators is a shorter period than the time they have lived on the planet. Okay? So, essentially, we are being told exactly where we are.
Let me ask you something. If these things are true, these things that we're reading here, where does the space for truth and justice then
Actually,
take up?
Oddly enough, truth has come out, and this is what we're discussing here.
Truth is out. Justice is out.
Justice
what is
still.
Justice may have suffered a little dent here.
But doesn't it discourage anybody who ever thinks that something is amiss?
Actually,
it will discourage you from bringing it out into the open again.
You shouldn't be discouraged. essentially being told, look for a lot of money.
We can discuss it for you, and then we can decide which way do you want it to go.
Now, whether
or you keep doing it until those that are trying to save you are like, "Ay, way,
enough."
Tumekuchangia hiyo pesa. Tena bado where's that sort?
Wow.
The question of accountability is now the one that, I mean, when conversations such as this come out and it's open,
accountability suffers a serious. This is not even a blow. This is what you call a death blow.
When everybody heard that, senators have voted not to go the committee route, but to go the plenary route, what did we say?
Good.
We said, they're going the plenary route because sasa bei imepanda. Soko imefunguliwa. Soko ni huru. I mean, and then you see these stories coming out later and you're thinking, oh my God.
Wouldn't it have been nice if our prediction was confounded?
Yeah.
And there was no Soko. And we say, guys, folks, we got this one wrong.
Yeah. And they've actually gone through the process and delivered diligently.
The Senate have actually done the deed. But now, unfortunately, they've proved us right. And how we wish they did not prove us right.
No, this is very, very sad.
It's very sad.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.